This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Jenna Basonko and thank you for joining us. Now, before we head right onto the news proper, let's take a look at President Adama Barrow's New Year's message.
Fellow Gambians and friends of the Gambia, witnessing a new year is a blessing for which we should be grateful. I thank God, therefore, for the blessings of the year, which include the huge decline of COVID-19 cases globally, focusing more on economic recovery than the pandemic. My government began 2022 with renewed vigor and commitment to advancing our dear nation's development agenda. 12 months on, we are comfortably set to implement a sound 5-year recovery-focused National Development Plan, 2023-2027, and a longer-term vision, 2050, through a robust governance structure. To recollect, after my inauguration in January, for an other 5-year term, 2022-2027, and the National Assembly elections that followed in April, I formed a cabinet with new profiles to lead the march towards building on the gains of our transition period and to break new grounds. The creation of 2 additional ministerial portfolios demonstrates our resolve and manifests our determination to move swiftly but professionally. Supported by the Access to Information Act, my government's commitment to democracy and respect for freedom of expression led to the retention of a separate ministry for information. It is obvious that we cannot develop in the absence of a capable human resource stock. As such, the government highly prioritizes education, skills development, and job creation to boost our human resource capabilities. Incidentally, the Faraba Banta University campus is ready for operation in 2023. Graduates from our various institutions will feed into the national employment policy goal of creating 150,000 jobs within the next 5 years. My government takes education, health, and agriculture with utmost seriousness. That 30% of the 2023 national budget is allocated to these sectors serves as evidence. Additionally, there is a sharp government focus on economic recovery, agricultural production, construction, and tourism to reduce global pressures on our economy. As a tax-based economy, we must create jobs and pay taxes willingly. Aided by new technology, we have improved tax collection and are determined to build on this success. Fellow Gambians and friends of the Gambia, lessons learned from the COVID-19 and Aki outbreaks have put us in a stronger position to strengthen our health system further. Meanwhile, the task force I set up is investigating the cause of the Aki outbreak and will submit its report in the new year. We will review the reports together with the recommendations from the National Assembly to inform government's decision on the matter. The outbreak was indeed tragic. We sympathize with all the families and persons affected and mourn the loss of those precious Gambians' children. I assure the nation that the government will do all it takes to discover what led to the tragedy and how to prevent its recurrence. The initiative we took to improve the health infrastructure is advancing smoothly. Besides the widespread construction works in progress, we plan to transform the Basse and Brikama health facilities into regional hospitals. Construction will begin in 2023. Inaugurated earlier this year, the ultra-modern medical disposal and treatment center at Farato is another gigantic development of the year. Alongside this initiative, we will steadfastly build the capacity of the health personnel and improve their work conditions. Fellow Gambians and friends of the Gambia, high inflation continues to threaten our survival and growth. It negatively impacts on living costs globally and influences prices locally. Furthermore, the current high dependence on imported rice is neither productive nor sustainable. As a result, supporting farmers is another key government policy. Despite the difficulty of providing essential farming inputs, such as fertilizer, during the year, we made a subsidy of millions of dollars to avail farmers affordable quality fertilizer. To begin the trade season on a high note, my administration increased the price of groundnuts by 14%, $32,000 per ton from $28,000. Our farmers also receive improved seed varieties for higher yields. We listened to them during the recent Meet the People tour and will continue to address their plight. The global price increase of rice is an alert for Gambians to take up rice cultivation more seriously. Importing over 70% of the rice we eat is unsustainable. Formerly, Gambian farmers cultivated most of the rice consumed in the country. With modern technology, we can do far better. We have the land and the human resource. Thus, with private sector investments, we can transform farming into profitable business ventures. Against the threats of climate change, we have taken adaptive measures for resilience purposes. The floods in the Greater Banjul area remind us to urgently manage our environment, settlements, and waterways. I urge everyone to respect the building and land laws to reduce the risks posed by climate change. The program budget allocation to the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure indicates my government's preparedness to provide the needed infrastructure to ease movement and boost the economy. Fellow Gambians, in this short speech, I cannot mention all areas requiring attention, but be assured that we are taking a holistic development approach with better coordination arrangements to realize our national targets. In this light, we recently initiated an appraisal system for state-owned enterprises, which will eventually include all MDAs. I call on all those in public service to do their best for the nation. Fellow Gambians, affordable electricity supply for all is top on my government's agenda. The plan to decentralize and expand access in all areas, rural and urban, add in new settlements, is on course. Our security sector reform program has progressed in building the capacity of our security forces. The armed forces are being reoriented and motivated to enhance their role and responsibilities to assure maximum security in the country. For their part, all citizens should take responsibility to control crime, while crimes reported to the police drop in 2022. With public cooperation, burglary and domestic violence and other crimes could be reduced further. Along similar lines, those in border communities that experience sporadic armed conflicts should collaborate with the security services to secure the country. Our territorial integrity must never be compromised. It is regrettable that a handful of soldiers recently planned to overthrow the democratically elected government of the day. The devastating consequences of illegally overthrowing a constitutionally elected government can never justify the means employed, nor the ill-advised purposes for such deadly crimes. Gambians have lived through a military regime, and they know that military takeovers have destabilized these united and isolated countries within the sub-region that struggle to live with them. The Gambia is a multi-party democracy, and citizens can legally contest for public office if they wish to do so. Otherwise, amounts to treason and carries severe penalties. I thank and commend the Intelligence Service and the Gambia Armed Forces High Command for boldly and promptly taking action to foil the plot. They have demonstrated that if we are united and vigilant as patriotic citizens, we will safely defend our country and continue our development programs. These are times for national reconciliation and consolidation of our democratic institutions, and not time to revert to lawlessness, subversion, and unconstitutional tendencies. Because they are effective measures to ensure that justice prevails. All unlawful acts, mob justice inclusive, will not be tolerated. Wherever we may be, we must take charge to make our environment safe and maintain peace, law, and order. Fellow Gambians, at the international level, the Gambia is in the limelight again. Our partners appreciate the government's efforts to promote and protect democracy. To cite examples, we now head the ECOWAS Commission, and both the World Bank and the IMF approve of our fiscal discipline. The recent announcement at the US-Africa Summit by President Joseph Biden, according to Gambia, the Compact Millennium Development Challenge Grant is quite significant. Our ranking in the World Press Freedom Index for respecting freedom of expression and enacting the Access to Information Act continue to challenge us to strive harder. In like manner, we will continue to strengthen our foreign relations through diplomacy and people-to-people relations, thus encouraging investments. Fellow Gambians, our achievements in 2022 resulted partly from teamwork and collaboration from the legislature, the judiciary, the public institutions, the media, civil society organizations, and the public. To a large extent as well, our partners played their roles very well. I thank all of them and urge that we cooperate and work harder to bring about the change we desire without violence or conflict. In the same way, I appeal to all Gambians in the diaspora to continue contributing to the advancement of their motherland. I encourage them to invest in growing the economy and safeguarding our democracy peacefully. Remittances contribute to economic growth, so let no one relent. I thank our religious and community leaders for standing by the teachings of our religions to guide the people. The African ulama and Ministers of Religious Affairs conference we hosted signifies international recognition of our beloved nation. Please keep up the good work. I cannot fail to reiterate to all political leaders and supporters that our love for the country should never be questioned, regardless of our diverse opinions. We have a nation to build, and doing so requires unity, commitment, determination, and professionalism. We have to strive in unity to maintain the Gambia as the smiling coast of Africa. As we enter 2023, we are better prepared to move the Gambia to higher heights. Let us do so together. I wish you all a very happy and prosperous 2023. Long live the Republic of the Gambia. Thank you.
President Adama Barrow there on his New Year's message highlighting issues amongst lessons learned. Now, to get back to the news proper, here are the main news headlines. The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of the Gambia, the Most Reverend Bani Imenze F. Manga, in the New Year message has spoken about how poverty is affecting our country while others are getting richer. Also in his New Year message, the Catholic Bishop of the Diocese of Banjul, the Most Reverend Dr. Gabriel Mendy, has said we should reflect on the challenges of the passing year and work hard and have faith in God to accomplish our heart's desire in the new year. And also, despite condemnation by some environmental groups, the Minister of Environment has told National Assembly members that the Gambia has nothing to lose in the deal to allocate 10 hectares of land to the U.S. Embassy in Bijilo, at a site currently home to the West African Livestock Innovative Center. Now, those were the main news headlines. Now, the news in detail. Thank you for joining us. If you're just tuning in, I am Jenna Basonko. Now, the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of the Gambia, the Most Reverend Bani Imenze F. Manga, in his New Year message has spoken about how poverty is affecting our country while others are getting richer. Here's an excerpt.
We cannot continue to look at poverty, greed, wickedness, selfishness, and poverty in their various shades as they continue to flourish within our national walls. It is unacceptable that our beloved nation and its people continue to struggle in our developmental quest, but we see selected individuals thriving and flourishing in wealth and prosperity. This cannot be the will of God, that only a select few would prosper and the rest of us would suffer. We must seek to participate with God in redefining the status quo for all our peoples in our beloved land of the Gambia. We're thankful for his continued goodness towards us all, and thus join with the psalmist in Psalm 3 verse 5 to say, I lie down and I sleep, and I wake up again because the Lord sustains me. Within the context of celebrating the end of this year and looking forward to the prospects that the new year 2023 could represent, I join you all in counting my blessings and in seeking to name them one by one, and I realize how numerous they are. I am sure we would appreciate that God has truly been good to us as a people and as a nation. Furthermore, we choose to make the year 2023 a year when our belief and our walk with God will not only be ceremonial, but one in which we love God and neighbor. As the year 2023 unfolds before us daily, I assure you of our continued prayers and love. On behalf of the Methodist family here in the Gambia, I pray for a blessed and fruitful year in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Still on New Year's messages, as the Catholic Bishop of the Diocese of Banjul, the Most Reverend Dr. Gabriel Mendy, has said that we should reflect on the challenges of the passing year and work hard and have faith in God to accomplish our heart's desire in the new year. Here's an excerpt.
We surely learned some lessons from the past, but we look forward with hope and determination to address our problems, challenges, and difficulties. So on this day we begin the new year of 2023. I encourage everyone to cherish this year as another year of life, growth, and blessings God has granted us in our journey of faith. We can accomplish our plans, intentions, and mission of our vocation in life if we are hardworking and determined to succeed and attain God's reward. My New Year's message to everyone who cherishes this new year as a special year of God's favor is basically your endurance will win you your lives. We should be steadfast in our faith and resist the emerging trends of religion, morals, and truth that are promoting misunderstanding and disunity in our families and society. At the same time, we should maintain our integrity instead of promoting indiscipline, corruption, discrimination, and incompetence in our society. As citizens, we should persevere in our personal and collective efforts to improve, develop, unite, and protect our nation. Otherwise, we will not be successful because there are no easy and instant solutions to some of the challenges, deficiencies, and problems of our nation. On that note, I wish the priests, deacons, religious, seminarians, lay faithful, our brothers and sisters in Christ, our Muslim friends and neighbors, believers of all faiths, Gambians at home and abroad, a peaceful, fair, prosperous, and successful new year. May God grant us the strength and conviction and assistance we need in our endurance and perseverance throughout 2023. I thank you for your attention.
That is all we have on New Year's messages. Now moving on, the Minister of Environment has told National Assembly members that Gambia has nothing to lose in the deal to allocate 10 hectares of land to the U.S. Embassy in Bijilo at a site currently home to the West African Livestock Innovative Center. Environmental groups have condemned the deal and warned of its consequences, the biodiversity of the wildlife in the Bijilo Forest Park. Mondo Lamin Choi has more.
Government's plan to allocate a 10-hectare land site to the U.S. Embassy currently occupied by Walik in Bijilo is raised in a parliamentary question by the National Assembly member for Jimara. Dinan, who chairs the Environment Select Committee, asked the Environment Minister whether the land allocated in Bijilo for the new U.S. Embassy compromises the biodiversity of the Bijilo Forest Park and the economic viability for tourism in the Gambia. This is the response of the Environment Minister, Rohi John Manjang.
If I can answer that very short, it does not completely compromise it. Instead, it has an advantage to the tourism. I will tell you that. What is being affected, as far as the ministry is concerned, is where we now called the visitor center. And this is where we have a buy and take. They're going to build us a new, modern, environmentally friendly visitors park that will be in an area. We will give them this area, but they'll give us an area inside where they acquired. So we have nothing to lose.
On Friday, QTV toured the site in question. The 10-hectare plot of land is covered with a thick growth of wild trees and currently hosts the West Africa Livestock Innovative Center. Whether the land proposed for the new U.S. Embassy falls under the Bigelow Forest Park, thus posing a threat to the biodiversity of the wildlife and trees in the park, is the bone of contention between the Gambia government and environmental groups. Modu Inkeba is the president of the Gambia Environmental Alliance.
This place is called the Bigelow Forest Park, which is gazetted, just like the Salaji Forest Park, the Kiang West National Park, and even the Abuko Nature Reserve. So the Walik Center, as you could see, is built inside the Bigelow Forest Park. So there is no distinction between the Forest Park and the Monkey Park.
So that size that is being given to the American Embassy is not the Bigelow Forest Park. It is the former ITC that is now Wallet. So it's not the Bigelow Forest Park. I want this to be very clear.
A tour of this 10-hectare site shows the presence of wildlife, most notably different species of monkeys. During our short visit, we have seen more than a dozen monkeys, as well as birds and wild trees, which serve as resting ground and food source for the animals. One of the wildlife species found in the area allocated to the U.S. Embassy is western red colobus monkey. It is an endangered species which is found in West Africa, the Gambia hosting a large population. Famara Drame is the executive director of the Gambia Wildlife Conservation Trust.
So when this area goes to the U.S. Embassy, it is going to affect the biodiversity because already we have seen 7 hectares of Bigelow Forest Park was taken for the construction of the OIC Conference Center. That has already shrunk the habitat of these monkeys. That's why you see them running everywhere, going to the hotel areas, crossing the road, going to restaurants, looking for food because there's no enough food. So when you give this project too, that is going to further encourage into the habitat that they are using. And these animals, the area they use for feeding and for mating and other their daily activities is different. The monkeys live in the park, but they use this Walik site here for their daily activities.
So this Walik Center have been here for so long. They have peacefully cohabited with these monkeys, both the red colobus monkeys and other primates. When you came here, you saw them, they're jumping around. They peacefully cohabited here. But when this place is given to the Americans, our first concern is the Americans will always have a lot of security sensors. And these primates, you can control them. They will be jumping around, and they will be triggering security alarms all the time. And they stated it clearly that they cannot live with them here. And there is no place in the world which was successful or a successful relocation of these primates was done.
The Bigelow Forest Park, also known as Monkey Park, is a woodland gazetted in 1952 and covers an area of 51.3 hectares and is on the Atlantic Ocean Beach at the southern end of the Senegambia area of Kololi, with a total length of 1,500 meters and width of 350 meters. In 2017, in a controversial move, the Gambia government allocated 7 hectares of the Bigelow Forest Park for the construction of a 5-star international conference center. After reviewing more than 70 properties in 3 years, it was announced in October that the U.S. Embassy had reached an agreement with the Gambia government to acquire a 10-hectare land in this site. Both parties to that agreement have given assurances that the allocated area is not part of the Bigelow Forest Park. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy has given an assurance of its intention to, quote-unquote, contribute to the preservation and protection of the park and its fauna and flora and preserve access to the beach. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. But before we leave, on behalf of the entire production team, we wish you a happy new year. Thank you so much for joining us.
Christmas and Happy New Year from the board, management, and staff of Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation.
la hido timmandi wato sitalam ko denke jeli ba ko yati ande ko